Yeah.
Why don't I start the show? Okay.
Here we are, able to hear both of it ourselves and each
Yeah.
other. It's a very good thing when you're doing a live podcast, a
Absolutely.
live show. Yes. So, boy, have you ever, any of you people listening or watching, kept picking the wrong type of person? And would you like to figure out how to not do that anymore? Barry and I are going to talk about that today.
Oh, yes. Maybe share
Oh
our
my
experience
goodness.
too.
Pardon?
And maybe share from our own experience as well.
Yes, we do have some personal experience about that too.
Mm-hmm.
So yes, seatbelt yourself in. We're ready to talk about this thing that comes up a lot, certainly in the conversations I have with people. We'd like to welcome you to the newstreamingnetwork.com, WGSN-DB Going Solo Network, radio, TV, and podcasts, #1 internet singles talk network. And this is Let's Talk Dating with Christine and Barry. Hi, Barry.
Hi, Christine.
We were having some technical audio issues and they're all solved. Yay. I'm glad you had to do it and not me. I wouldn't have known what to do, Mr. Selby.
I have some ideas.
Good job. Good job. So first, what's the wrong type? Isn't that one of the things to think about? Because yes, I'm the first to say, Barry will agree, there are some bad people in the world. There's evil people, there's people out to hurt people, there's people only out to do bad, wrong things. Generally, it's a small percentage of the population. It just is that are truly evil, bad-meaning people. Often, when they turn out to be the wrong person, it's just because they're the wrong person for you. It's not that they're a bad person doing bad things. They're just wrong for you. What makes us attracted to them? What makes us attract them? Because it was certainly my thing that I did really well. I could have gotten a gold medal at how to be with the people that would never have turned into a husband. They were never bad. I will say I was so, my picker seemed to be great for picking people that were nice to me. They only treated me courteously. They took me to do lovely things. Nothing bad ever happened. And I was fine until I said, gosh, I think I'd like to have a husband, and realized that nobody I dated before or was currently dating would have ever suited me for a husband. Because my friends would all say, well, what do you think of the people that you're dating? And I'd say, really nice, really like them, but I wouldn't marry them, which was fine to say when I didn't want to get married. But when I wanted to get married, I needed to stop dating the men that I would never marry.
Very clear. Absolutely. Yeah. I didn't have that particular journey. I had one where I would keep making choices that weren't supporting me where I wanted to go, and also choosing partners that did the same thing to me, from me, with me each time. Even though the face and the body changed, it was the same thing happening each time. That's what started me on this journey. And it took sort of the third partner for me to finally go, hang on a second, I think I get a clue here. And I can recognize for myself that it's me, not them. Yeah. And I mean, ideally I would learn the first time. It took me 3 times to figure it out. But if it hadn't been, but because of that, the lesson got really brought home in a big way. So I learned no longer to do that anymore. And it changed my life, but it wasn't necessarily an easy one. So I'm saying anybody who's listening, that you may have gotten caught into a cycle where you're attracted to certain people who are the wrong type for you, but it feels right to do it. Right. Yeah.
And one of the reasons that it might feel right is that you have a lesson to learn that you and I now say we didn't know it yet, and we had to keep doing it before we learned the lesson. And also, what I really realized eventually was it's the kind of person that I knew how to be with, because it was my family background. It was the kind of person I knew how to act around. It was the kind of person I thought I deserved. And so even though they treated me really well, it wasn't bad treatment, but it was that they weren't financially stable. And it wasn't a problem until I thought, gosh, if I have a husband, then we would be combining our finances. And I don't want to combine my finances with somebody who's pretty frivolous and doesn't really care about having a lot of debt and not paying it off. So what is really the first step, is to say, well, what's the wrong type that you're picking, without any recrimination? What isn't working? What's the thing that isn't working of the type that you're picking? I love that you say they show up looking different. I used to go, oh, it's central casting. They look different, they seem different, but they have this core thing over
Yeah.
and over and over. Central casting comes, but this is what you keep asking for. I just didn't realize that's what I kept asking for. So
Yeah.
when I looked at the theme, oh, there's a common thread to all these people. So first, what is it? Just like on an archaeological dig, just be curious, because that's what you did too. And you're like, oh, this is what I keep being attracted to and attracting to me. I mean, I think that's just the foundation.
It absolutely is. I mean, when I work with my clients, oftentimes I ask them, in fact, I do it when I'm just talking even in social circles, not just in coaching. But it's oftentimes that the partners we choose oftentimes remind us, as you said before, sort of how our parents were, how the relationship with our parents was between each other, how they treated us. Because we do, and I said this before in the broadcast months ago, how we get programmed very young age what love is meant to be based on what we watch our parents doing. And if a parent's relationship was amazing and wonderful, which for most people is not true, then all well and good. But if your parent's relationship was dysfunctional, messy, divorcing, unhappy, those sort of things, if you're not consciously aware of the choice you're making and you're doing it by default, by being drawn to someone because they feel right, what it likely is happening is that they feel right because they remind you of how you were when you were a kid and how your parents were, which you're now going to repeat the same pattern, cycle, experience that your parents had that you don't want to repeat. So you've got to choose your way out by, first of all, as you said, what is it? What is the pattern? What is the attraction? What is it that's causing you to go, that one, please? You know?
Yeah. Sometimes I think we pick people because of how we were grown up, or in spite of, we want something completely different. And sometimes it's so unconscious. Often it's very unconscious. So we really need to give ourselves a break, have grace about when you're looking at what is the thing that keeps happening? What's the thing that turns out is wrong for me? What is it they do or don't do? You know, you hear people say, oh, they never want to make a commitment. They only want to have sex. They only want to be casual, or they want to get serious right away, and I don't. So if you see a trend, use that as fodder to go, oh, I have a pattern. Wow, what an interesting thing to discover. It was so eye-opening for me. I mean, there's a part where you go, oh gosh, you know, what kind of person's like that? And oh, does that make me a bad person? I mean, I went through that, and I think everybody does a little of that. And then you move past that and go, oh my gosh, I can learn to do different. I can learn to pick different people, because the people that don't want to make a commitment, it's great if they meet people who don't want to make a commitment. I mean, there's nothing wrong with them not wanting a commitment. It's just they need to meet other people that feel the same way, and not people that want to make a commitment.
This is the thing, is it can be hard, first of all, to say no to things that are so familiar because it's easy, but the challenge is easy isn't always healthy. So the first step of this is awareness, as you said, like, you know, what's going on, being that archaeological dig. It is a simple step, which I was talking about with my clients. The first thing is awareness, because simple awareness is the first step that gets you moving. But then the question is, what do you do about it? And so to have the willingness to gently, kindly, and respectfully acknowledge that you made unhealthy choices, because yes, it's not about judging and blaming yourself, as you said, and then start looking at, well, then what do I want to do differently? And this is also a good time where I recommend for clients when I'm working with them is to not actually date for a while. Because you really want to get your own house in order, so to speak, before you go out there and start dating again, because the old habits don't go away just instantaneously. Much as we'd like them to, they tend to be, they say something like a new habit takes 25 to 28 to 38 days to change. I think these sort of patterns are deeper than that. So I'd say 2 or 3 months is probably a good starting point, just to give yourself room to breathe and to look at yourself and to really start to learn how to be with yourself before you start learning how to be with somebody else. Because it's easy to say, well, I want this instead, but the wiring is so deeply laid inside. Even though we're going to go this direction, we get getting pulled to the side of where we want to go and end up somewhere else, which is the familiar territory we've been in before, which you don't want to repeat. Yeah. So the way you stop wanting the wrong type, to go back to the title of the show, is you've got to start by disengaging the wiring and the magnets, so we say, that pull you into the wrong type. Because that's the thing, is we're not obviously honestly choosing consciously that relationship as much as we think we are. We're drawn in because something feels familiar, feels comfortable, feels good, regardless of the consequences of that choice.
So wise. Yeah, sometimes the answer is so simple and the execution can feel really hard.
Yes.
So one of the examples that I give people that it has nothing to do with love and relationships. Think about if you've moved and the silverware drawer used to be on that side of the room and now it's on this side of the room. How many times does your body automatically go the other direction? It's just normal. Why would you give yourself a hard time that you don't remember that the silverware is in another spot? So do the same thing with yourself in this vein, because we really feel like there's more reason to give ourselves we keep picking the wrong no, it's just like the silverware. As Barry explained, you're now going to reprogram yourself, because it's often so unconscious how we learn about relationships from our family. We didn't have any way of filtering it. We didn't have any comparison. We just learned, it's sort of like osmosis. It just like goes in your body. And you do finally have a chance now as an adult to go, wow, does this really work for me? Is this fitting my life? I think I want something different. It's just like I've now put the silverware on the other side of the room. Hopefully you can get to the place, not initially, but get to the place where you can be just as kind and benign about it. I'm just going to learn a different way of looking at people, a different way of approaching people, a different way of thinking about what I deserve, what I really need and want, because that's the next thing you're going to move into. That once you have identified, oh, here's my pattern, then we help you come up with a program of how to start like an ocean liner, not a speedboat. You do this little course correcting a little at a time, because that way it sits in. Because if you now go to the silverware drawer enough times on the other side of the room, you'll just automatically start going there. So that's what you'll start doing when you start hanging out with people that are more your type, not in a romantic way, but in friends. We both offer exercises to get you going in a different direction, that once you're now course corrected, then you're like, oh, well, what do I want? Now I figured out what I don't want. That's a really perfect place to start. Then what would you like instead? Because sometimes we can't even get past the what we don't want until we've healed from that. It's like there's been so much wonderful talk about people want us to feel better when we're grieving. Well, we might never feel all the way better. We'll always miss them and have some sadness, but we can absolutely get to a place where we can move forward and laugh again and be happy again and fall in love again. So be realistic about how long it takes to undo what you've learned since you were little, and have some patience with yourself and know, yes, the answer is simple and the execution can just take some work. But it's really worth it, right? We've both lived through it. So, and really, we both say it changed our lives exponentially. And we both talked about it got us on this path to now be coaches, that we learned our own lessons to help ourselves do better in our personal relationships, romantic and friends and professionally. And then we can pass it on to you, and you can learn the same thing to have your life feel I'm attracting better people into my life that are better for me. And I'm more attracted to those kind of people, because it's definitely a two-way street. Because people who really aren't your type, when you figure out they're not your type, they will just walk on by. They really will. I was amazed how people came out of the woodwork when I figured out what I needed to meet men that I needed for a husband. They started showing up.
Yeah. That's actually one of the nicest the side effects, so to speak, of it. Because, and by the way, I love the idea of like silverware drawer therapy now. This is like a new technique. But the thing that I want to underline is that it is a matter of when you change your internal belief system, wiring, choices, attractions, the outside world reflects to you that different paradigm. Now, it will sometimes throw one at you that is the old style, but it's for you to just recognize that you no longer are attracted to it. Mm-hmm. But the power of this transformation is that your internal, I was going to say barometer is not the right word, but your gauge, so to speak, your attraction gauge, your magnet, what you're focusing on, shifts from the wrong type to the right type when you know what it is for you.
Mhm.
And as we said at the beginning, like there are some people who definitely are on the far end of the spectrum who are bad, evil, no good for anybody. And I know some of the clients I've had, some of my friends have also gone through relationships with people like that, but were so far down the spectrum of being so bad for them, it was almost toxic. It was actually very toxic. So I understand it's not just easy to go, okay, I'm done with that, walk away, because you've made a lot of wiring in there. That's why both Christine and I are for different support systems, structures, and coaching to help our clients navigate that, no matter how far down the path of challenge they've been, because the truth is we are all worthy and deserving of a healthy, right type of relationship. So don't despair. There is hope.
There's so much hope. And I have probably said it at least 20 times in the last couple weeks. Nobody just knows how to navigate the dating world. It's certainly not right now.
Yeah.
Think about everything you've ever had to take classes and learn for your job or a hobby or a sport. This is the same thing, that you're out in the world and you seem to be attracted to people that are the wrong type for you. You never learned how to attract the right type. Just you didn't Nobody signed you up for that class. You didn't even know there was that class to take. And that's why we do our podcast and our coaching, because we figured out, oh, nobody taught me this. I need to go learn it. And we've both spent lots and lots of years learning it. We'd like to help you get to it quicker now that we have all this knowledge behind us, that
Yeah.
you can now choose differently. But it's a learned behavior. It's very much a learned behavior. It is not something, because I love when people say, oh, I did this before and I'm working on myself. And I go, great. What are you doing? I don't know, but it's going to be different.
Yeah.
Great. What's your plan? I want it. I'm excited that you have a plan. And often people don't have a plan because they don't know what to do next. Because
Right.
how would you know? You don't know.
No. And the thing is also what happens is there's a temptation to just say, well, if I put my hands up and go, no, I'm going to do that, the right thing will happen. But what you do is you're just basically blocking, and this is the challenge, because you're focusing on what you're blocking, that's what you're still going to be attracted to, because you're looking in the wrong direction. So it does require some hands-on help, usually, some sort of resource, some sort of support to change the direction you're focusing on, because there's something about basically, Henry Ford, I think, was quoted as saying about, if you whether you think you can or think you can't, you're probably right. He's saying, I don't want that, I don't want this, I don't want this, that this is still going to show up. You've got to be clear about what you do want. And so part of the stopping of the attraction of the wrong type is to start focusing on what you do want to be attracted to and have real clarity on what that is. Like saying with people who you say they don't know what they're doing, at least start with the intention or desire or dream where you want to go, so you can have a different result, because it is not just enough to say no more of the bad stuff. You got to focus on what you want to go and the good stuff.
And boy, along with that, because that's certainly the biggest shift, is what would you like instead? Because when we attracted to the wrong type, often it's because, as I found, it's what I thought I deserved.
Mm-hmm.
Was my family and my first marriage, that they made a bunch of money and they spent it all the time. And so I thought, well, that's men. That's who men are. That's who all the men are that were in my life. Of course, it'll still be that way. And so to learn, I deserved to have something different in my life. I was worthy of something different in my life. I had worked very hard to get myself into a financial place where that wasn't my personal life. But I was still projecting it on the men and I did it really well because they kept showing up. So how did I now decide, oh, there's men that could be as financially sound as me and stable as me and thoughtful as me? And it really took the work to shift that in my brain and to undo that and to redo new thinking and to really concentrate on that. But I'll tell you, when I got good at that, they just came out of the woodwork.
Yep.
They were standing around waiting for me to decide that that's the kind of man I wanted instead. And I've told the story that my husband ended up 3 months after we started dating, handing me his credit report. And I was like, oh, why? And he said, because I saw in your profile that somebody financially stable was important to you, and I'm falling in love with you. So I want you to see that I match that thing. And I thought, wow, what a great confirmation that I had adjusted that thinking inside of me.
Absolutely. So we're going to take a break. So you want to do a quick little, yeah.
So If this has piqued your interest at all, if you continue to attract the wrong type and you really want to stop it, Barry and I'd be so happy to talk to you. And the best way to reach me is to go to my website and click on the middle of the What's Holding You Back from Love questionnaire. It'll give you access to my online calendar, and you can schedule a complimentary conversation with me at your convenience, or you can send me an email at christine@theperfectcatch.com. And how would people reach you, Barry?
Similar to Christine, I have a website under my name, which is barryselby.com. And at the top of the screen on my website, there's a button underneath the heading that basically says, let's chat. And if you click on that button, it takes you to my calendar and also to a questionnaire you fill out that basically gives you a chance to answer some questions that give me clarity of what you're looking for, what's in the way, what's working. Then we have a 20-minute conversation, usually over Zoom, that basically helps me figure out where you are and what you're looking for, and also see if I want to help you out, if I can help you out. If you want to drop me an email, you send me one directly at barry@barryselby.com, and we'll tell you all about the rest of the stuff at the end of the show.
Perfect. So we're going to take a short break from our wonderful new streaming network.com, who puts on our great episodes every week. And we'll be right back to talk more about how to stop wanting the wrong type.
See you in a moment.
Welcome back to Let's Talk Dating with Christine and Barry. And today we're talking about how to stop wanting the wrong type. It's a stumbling block for lots of people, and often we just don't know why the wrong people keep showing up. And I just kept going next. And when I discovered that I had a lot to do with it and I could really do something about it, because if it was me, I could do something about me. It turned into a wonderful marriage that sadly he died, but that was my wonderful benefit of doing this work, of learning to stop wanting and attracting the wrong type.
Another part of that, it's also, I was going to say a way to say it this way, but you might find yourself enjoying yourself being alone, because the challenge is, for a lot of us, we've been trained by our parental upbringing or other things in our lives that you're only happy if you're in a relationship. And we choose the wrong type because we're picking the most familiar type to make us happy, in quotes. But the truth is, I think for a lot of people, and this is one of these I learned for myself, is how to be happy when you're on your own. Because then we have a relationship, it adds to that. We have spent most of our lives looking for our other half, the one's going to fill us up, make us whole. You know, like from Jerry Maguire, you complete me, the whole paradigm. And I've ranted about many times about the challenge of codependency. But if we keep thinking that when we find a person that makes us feel whole, that, frankly, I would say it's the wrong type of person. You want to be with somebody who honors you as a whole person yourself, and ideally somebody you can honor the same way. So when you choose to be together, you're actually standing side by side, not stuck nose to nose. And the understanding of how to be with the right type of person generally requires that you have to re-educate yourself, because you didn't know that going in. Because our programming, our belief systems, our wiring, our learning has focused us towards those relationships that are the wrong type. And so it does require, as you said earlier before the break, some re-education, changing how we think about ourselves and treat ourselves, so we shift our paradigm away from what doesn't work, so we start looking in the right direction and discover what amazing possibilities are available for us in the future.
So true. And one of the things also, if you think about the wrong type, could also be friends. You know, are you happy with the friends you have in your life? As Barry was talking about, if you're not in a romantic relationship and you're not interested in one, or you're between them and you're still wanting to have friends in your life. And often what I did is I had some wrong type friends in my life, and I didn't know how to sort that out. And this will help you as well, learning what is it you'd really like from friends? I have a whole exercise that I use with my clients to help them. I call Dating for Friends, so that you can then pick better friends. Also, how close or far do you need to be from your birth family? You know, just because they're blood does not mean they are going to be considerate and careful with your feelings. You might need to work out how to not spend so much time with them and find some people that are friends that would feel like a family of choice. So it's a whole gamut of the wrong type, because it wears us down. It wears us out if we're spending too much time even if it's with ourselves and we're giving ourselves a hard time, that's not
Yeah.
making us the right type for ourselves. To how to be in the right emotional space that you know that you're going to generally spend most of your time, that yourself is going to be the right type for you, and that your friends and family, and hopefully if you want romantic, are going to be the right type for you,
Yeah.
because it permeates everything. I found that not only do we have not great pickers, as people will say, in
Mm.
romance, but sometimes they don't have great pickers for other things, other relationships in their life.
In fact, that's one of the biggest things I've discovered over the years, was just how much my friendship circle had changed, evolved, and transformed. Because it's so true that it is that familiarity of what we attract and what we think we're attracted to. So we end up settling sometimes in relationships with people socially, not just primary relationship, that aren't additive to us too. So in a way, the title of the show, How to Stop Wanting the Wrong Type, could apply to your friendship circle as well, not just romantically, because we didn't say how to stop dating the wrong type. This is kind of the clear thing. So to that for a moment, you can look around the circle of friends you have and see what the common thread is, what the common level is, what level they play at. Do they play in a place that's always reactionary, or one-upmanship, or judging, or comparing, all those different things that people tend to do? Because if you're single and you're around those sort of people and they're your circle of friends, this may save you a lot of grief by not being primarily in a relationship with somebody like that. You can actually work on it whilst you're in your friendship circle, because the hardest part, the biggest gift, though, is to discover that the values you hold for yourself are such that you don't fit in that circle anymore. And you might end up walking away, or as I talk about it, how you elevate out of that group because you're no longer playing at that level anymore. But it is a wonderful, how can I say this, result. It may not be a wonderful journey, but the result is wonderful because you start to see that you feel better about yourself when you're not hanging out with those sort of people. So it is a lot about honoring who you are at the cost, in quotes, of the relationships you used to have that don't work for you. But it's worth it.
So worth it. When you start feeling better about yourself, because hanging around with the wrong type of any sort, I would find that I didn't feel as good about myself. So when you start feeling better about yourself, that's really the first step. Then you won't be comfortable around the people that are the wrong type for you. You'll be much more comfortable about the people that are right type for you, and you'll be more apt to pick them. You'll have more skills to pick them. And it's interesting how the wrong type of people just, it's funny how you say, you elevate yourself, and then sometimes they eliminate themselves. You're not as fun to
Yes.
play with. You don't want to gossip anymore. Or like my friends that are recovered alcoholics, there's a few friends that they still have from before, but most of them not, because they don't think they're funny. And, their friends think, oh, you're no fun anymore.
Yep.
So it might be that when you change, it is the other part, that when it's a simple solution, but it's hard to implement, it is part of the downside. But the upside is you are going to get some really great friends and a possibility of a great romantic relationship when you now are feeling happier inside of yourself. And boy, I felt so empowered when I figured out that what I was doing, and
Mhm.
figured out with a lot of help how to do it differently, and new people showed up. I was like, wow, bring it on. I want to do more of this. It was a little hard in the beginning, but I got very excited later about it. And it just was more and more exciting to go, look how powerful I am. If I make this switch, look what happens over here. And
Right.
it's what I find with my clients. They come back, we talk every week, and it only takes a few weeks, and they start getting new compliments from more positive people, and moving away from the people who have been more negative in their life. And it's really fun to see.
It is wonderful. I just want to speak to this. The thing I want to speak to is that liminal space between the old paradigm and the new paradigm. Because yes, you might find yourself leaving the circles or elevating beyond the circles, so they fall away from you, friends that no longer serve you because maybe they're all alcoholics and you're not, or just they're all judging and blaming you. You don't do that anymore. You may find yourself in the time, what I call liminal space, basically between the old and the new. And it's tempting when you're not around social people, not being very active. You want to go back to what's familiar because this is easier. But I just want to say, have faith, have willingness, have support from somebody like either one of us or just from people around you who see you as you really are and honor you as you really are, because it's worth the journey to get to the other side of that gap between the old and the new, so you can fully embrace the circles of friends you want to be with, the choices of people you want to hang out with, the relationship you want to be with, and the relationship with yourself you want to keep supporting and be supported with, because you deserve to have the most amazing relationship, as we always talk about, but also you deserve to have the most amazing relationship with yourself that maybe you've forgotten about.
And how exciting it is to be around people who are excited about the new part that you're blossoming, the part maybe that was already there that got kind of squashed in your family or squashed in a marriage or a hard relationship. That's what happened for me. It was about 6 months after I got divorced, and my friends are like, "Oh, well, look who's back," or "I remember her," or "Wow, I didn't even know you could have that as part of you." And it wasn't a terrible marriage at all. And it was hard on both of us. And it was really a good thing that we got divorced. And I felt like I really came back into a lot of my own. So that transition period, we do have to be patient with it, because it is kind of tempting to go back to the familiar. And my friend used to call it, it's that between chairs. You've gotten up from one chair, you're moving to the other, and that empty space, you're like, ah, but that's when you have a support person. You have somebody that you can count on, that you're going to talk with every week. And not only do we go, yeah, normal, got it, but, oh, did you notice the incremental? Did you notice? Because we don't always. We notice when we look back and go, oh, look at the big things that we've gotten through. But you and I are the people that go, but look what you just said happened. Look at what you let go of. Look at what you're moving towards. Because sometimes we can't see it for ourselves. So as you said, it's really nice to have somebody walking through that middle part with you, because it can feel kind of scary. I had a great therapist when I was going through all that. I was very grateful for her.
That's the thing, is really you want to be around people who have either walked the path before you and or know where you're heading towards, so they can support you on the journey to get there. And that really is the goal, because it's sometimes you think you have the faith, the strength of heart to say, yes, I can do this. But boy, it can be a slog, and it can be challenging at times. You may not feel like you want to give up. But if you've got somebody in your corner, somebody who's cheering you on, supporting you, whether it is a friend or a coach or a minister or a therapist or anything like that, that may be the boost you need, the support system you need, and the structure that basically keeps you on the straight and narrow, so to speak, focusing where you want to go, because you truly do deserve to have what you really want, but also to be who you really want to be. And I'm going to keep coming back to that point. I know I want to hammer this point home. It's like the relationship you have with yourself is the most important, of course. But when you start treating yourself with more respect, because you're no longer being around people who don't respect you, your relationship with yourself improves. It changes. That's the whole benefit of that. And so you want to choose a relationship that honors you in who you are and who you're becoming, because that's where the joy is. That's where the juice is. So I'm adamant and committed to helping my clients do that, because frankly, we all deserve that. So if you're listening to this and you're not sure how to do that, we'll talk at the end how you can touch us. But also, just know in your own heart that you do deserve to have a better relationship with yourself, with your relationship, with your primary relationship, and with your friends and social circle, because nobody needs to suffer, and you don't indeed.
And one of the really sad things that's very common is when you've been part of a circle, a friend's relationship, a romantic relationship, and you are ready to grow and you're starting to climb out of it, and this other person isn't, or the other people aren't, they often, I will give lots of people the benefit of the doubt, with not really malintent, will try pulling you back. They just will, because they don't want you to leave. They like the company. They like the parts of you that were meshed with them. And they don't want to look at that part of them. They don't want you to leave and be different. And just be aware that it's just them doing them, and it's not you. And if you want to grow, you might have to leave them behind, or at least briefly. You can maybe go back, but often you might have to leave them, not spend quite as much time with them, or have a moratorium for a little bit. It's just part of it. It's really important to be aware of that in the beginning. One of my hard things was when I always liked men, but I didn't understand them as well as when I now met lovely Allison. And I tell women that get so excited about what I'm teaching them. I go, now really the only downside that I have about this is you're going to get tired of listening to all your friends complain about all the stuff that you now know they're doing for a good reason. It's really hard to listen to a table full of women who are griping about men doing things that there really is a good reason for. And they all come back going, oh my gosh, I never heard it that way before, but it does get old. So growth is good. It's just good.
In counterpoint to what women talk about is what men have a bad habit doing, which I have an issue with myself because I've done the work, is when they belittle women and they label them in such derogatory terms. And I've had to, well, sometimes I bite my tongue, but sometimes I went up to the men and said, can you raise the vibration? Because frankly, guys, your way of treating women isn't respectful. And so it is a challenge that when you start doing this work, I'm sorry to say this, but when you start doing this work, you're in the minority because most people have no clue about this. So if you do choose to do this work, know that you're going to become more whole, more happy, more fulfilled. And you might discover there's not as many people around on the planet as you'd like to think that are on the same page.
You'll have to be a little more discriminating about people, but there's plenty. It's
yes.
But you are in the minority, but there's still plenty.
Absolutely.
Oh boy. I just can't imagine how many people are out there joining. Oh my gosh, this is so me. I can so relate to this. I so understand. I keep picking the wrong type and I don't know what's wrong with my picker. And so many people feel discouraged that they can't do anything differently. And Barry and I are here to say this whole entire time, yes, you can do something about it if you really want to. If you're really committed to it, you can absolutely pick different. You can absolutely pick the right type for you. So if you'd like to talk to me about that, please go to my website, which is www.theperfectcatch.com. Scroll to the middle of my homepage and click on the questionnaire, What's Holding You Back from Love. It's a brief questionnaire that you get a chance to talk about where you are and where you'd like to be. And it will show you, are you in the middle of something, or would you like to get ready for something, or would you like to get ready to get ready? Because that's another phase that some people are not even trying to date because it's too scary. I can help you not feel scared. If you've heard some terrible stories, I can help you not feel scared and go at this much more gently. Then once you fill out this brief questionnaire, you can schedule a complimentary conversation with me. We could talk on the phone or on Zoom and just find out how I might be able to help you. It's not guaranteed. That's why we have a call. It's like a first date. We see, do we want to spend more time together?
Yep.
While you're on my website, I'd also invite you to go to the top of the page and click on my ebook. It's free. Just click on it and you can download it, and I'd love to hear your thoughts about it. It has lots and lots of dating tips that I have accumulated over about 10 years of writing lots of dating advice and put it together in a book. You can also join my mailing list. Every week you'll get a copy of this wonderful show that Barry and I do in your mailbox, and also updates about what's going on in my professional life, what you could be doing with me even more with my classes. I'd also invite you to go down to the bottom, which is where all my social media icons are, of Facebook and LinkedIn and Twitter and Instagram and Pinterest and YouTube. And if you click on YouTube, you will see all the replays of Barry and I for the last 5 years, the parade of hats, and us not looking that much older in 5 years. You're also welcome to send me a personal private email at Christine@theperfectcatch.com. And Barry, how would people reach you?
Similar to Christine, I have a few things you can find me at and get in touch with me through. So again, my website is my name, which is barryselby.com. At the top of the screen, as I mentioned, is the link to my calendar. So click on that chat and takes you to my calendar. You fill out a questionnaire so you can get booked and have a chance to have a conversation with me. Again, 20 minutes, usually over Zoom. Also on the homepage and website, at the bottom of the page is the link to my email list. I should say the opt-in for my email list. There you put your name and your email address at the bottom, and you just jump in right in. You'll get an email from me every week where I send out also the replay of this show, plus everything I'm working on as well. Also on my site, there are 2 assessments. One on the homepage, which is my relationship readiness assessment. Really, are you ready for a relationship? Good questions to ask. So you go to the quiz there. You go either click on the button there or go to barryselby.com/quiz. And that'll take you through a bunch of questions. Will give you basically a percentage readiness type idea. And you'll get an email from me explaining what that is and an invitation to work with me as well. The second assessment, which you can't get to directly, but you can go to barryselby.com/self-quiz, which is a little different, surprisingly so. It's about yourself. This is a self-assessment. Basically, how's your relationship with yourself in regards to everybody else? This is a much deeper quiz. It has, I think, 7 or 9 different sections you go through with lots of questions. And because it's a much deeper assessment, you get a much deeper response. You get a PDF from me with a whole bunch of information in a document you can download, which gives you all sorts of tips and guides, next steps, things you can work on. So it's very usable and helpful. And also as invitations to work with me as well, because I'm going to keep telling you, you want to work with me. Also, my website is my book, which is 50 Ways to Love Your Lover. And you can click on the button at the top of the homepage or through the navigation, or just go to barryselby.com/book. And on that page is a little audio recording, an AI-generated discussion between a male and female voice discussing my books. You can get a preview that way if you want to get an idea of my book that way. Then you buy it at the bottom of the page. There's links to go to Amazon, Kindle, ebook, whichever version you want to get. You can find me on social media and all the platforms. So I'm under my name, Barry Selby, on YouTube, where this show gets put up with all my other videos, up to 1,500 other videos out there right now. So definitely go check out my YouTube channel. But also I'm Barry Selby on Facebook, LinkedIn, Pinterest, Blue Sky, and I think that's those. And then if you want to find me on Instagram or Threads, it's The Real Barry Selby. And if you want to drop me an email, you can send me one at barry@barryselby.com. Also, this month I've committed to helping people really realign their dating profile, their dating choices. So I'm offering what I'm calling a dating diagnostic. So it's illiterate, sounds very funny. But basically, if you're interested in that, that is a fee-based offer. But send me an email at barry@barryselby.com and let me know you want that dating diagnostic. And I'll say all the details, and you can get one. That's for this month through March. So if you want to listen to this later in the month, you can still get one. I may extend it if people like it. We'll see what happens. But just drop me an email at barry@barryselby.com. I think it's everything.
So cool.
Yeah.
And I failed to mention that I came up with my company name of The Perfect Catch with Learn How to Be One, and then you'll attract one, because
Yes.
that's what I did.
Perfect.
So Barry and I are here live every week at on Thursday at 1 o'clock Pacific and 4 o'clock Eastern, and all the times in between. And then you can then watch us on replay on Roku and on YouTube. But if people want to take us with them and listen, what do they do, Barry?
Well, for some people, having time to sit down and watch a video can be challenging. So if you're out driving around or cycling or shopping or anything else, listen to podcasts, we have a podcast because this show becomes one. So you listen to all 270 episodes of Let's Talk Dating on your favorite podcast platform, whether it's Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Amazon, wherever you listen to podcasts, you'll find our show. So listen to us wherever you go, and you can binge listen if you want for hours and hours and hours.
And we'd love for you to like it and share it with people and your friends or family that are also having challenges with their dating and relationship. And please leave us a review if you enjoyed it or learned something, and submit any questions. We'd be happy to answer them while we're on our podcast.
Yep.
And we'll see you next week with another interesting subject.
See you on Let's Talk Dating next week. Take care of yourselves.
Bye.
Bye.